Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Razak School of Government's 11th webinar. Today's webinar is called Making Sense of the Census. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and the structure of our webinar session today. To those who follow this webinar through Zoom, please mute your microphones. We are also broadcasting this webinar live on our Facebook. This webinar session is divided into 3 segments. First, we will begin with key questions posed to our guest speaker. Then, we will answer questions from participants. At any time during the webinar, you may submit your questions to the guest speaker. Just type your questions in the chat and comment section. Please keep your questions short and straightforward. As time allows, we will address as many questions as possible. Lastly, we then wrap up today's webinar session. This webinar is recorded and you will be able to access this recording via our Facebook and YouTube page. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest speaker. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin is presently the Chief Statistician of Malaysia, a position held since February 2017. He is responsible for the overall program and activities at the Department of Statistics Malaysia. He obtained his Bachelor of Analytical Economics from University of Malaya in 1989, Masters of Arts in Economics at Vanderbilt University in the United States in 2003, and completed a doctorate in economics at the University of Sheffield, United Kingdom in 2012. He has served the Department of Statistics since his posting as a statistician in 1990. Over the years, he has served various divisions such as National Accounts, External Foreign and Trade Statistics, Industrial Production and Construction and Services Division. He is also a member of various experts groups and international associations such as the UNWTO Tourism Statistics, Expert Group on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics, Executive Committee of International Association for Official Statistics, ASEAN Secretariat on SNA Statistics, ISI Southeast Asia Network, and Regional Program on Economic Statistics. He has presented various papers in many conferences. He is also active in sports and participates in many social activities. Datuk Seri Uzir is an alumni of RSOG. Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir, let us get started. The first question to the guest speaker is, what is the importance of a census to a country like Malaysia? Dipersilakan Datuk Seri.
Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to all participants of Razak School of Government 11 webinar. Thank you very much and very honored to be here, and thank you for to the organizer for inviting me as a speaker for today's special this special event. So today I would like to have some engagement and to answer some of the question from the participant on this important data collection. So when we talk about the census, is something that I consider as the mother of the data collection. So the first census was done in 1970. When immediately after 1969. So currently 2020 is our sixth census. So a lot of progress has been made by the country based on the information that be collected through the census, and a lot of shortcoming, a lot of imbalance in our society in terms of the demography, geography, and so forth have been considered by the government through means of implementation of various policy, especially the main our public policy is Malaysia Plan. So this census can really give a very important baseline for the socio-economy of the country in terms of the demography, in terms of the facilities, and of course related also with the composition of the ethnic, and also issue that related to the urban and rural area. So I have prepared very short slide presentation. Perhaps if we can also, can go through my first part of my presentation based on the slide. Can we put on the slide, please?
Sure, Datuk Seri, silakan.
Okay, can we put on the slide? Oh, dia angkat. Alright. Is it the slide ready?
Yeah, we are ready to.
Okay. So this some of the content of my slide presentation about the I provide the overview of the MYCENSUS. Then we follow with the importance of a census, and also what is the new thing, what is the reinvent of the current census, and also I would like to share some of the challenges. On slide number 3, have we? Not yet.
Datuk Seri,
Yeah.
while we waiting for the slides to be put up,
Yes, yeah.
maybe I just inform the participants that this slide will generally cover the 3 key questions that RSOG shared with Datuk Seri Dato' Mohd Uzir.
Yes.
Which is what is the importance of a census to country like Malaysia. We also ask what are the key challenges of a census.
Yeah.
And is there a way to reinvent the current census? Yeah, Datuk
Yes.
Seri?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. The slide is ready. Okay, I think while we are waiting for the slide, I think I still can continue to, okay, it's there.
Yeah.
It's here now. Okay. We go straight to the slide number 3 on the what is the key objective if we want to know on the framework of the census. We have 4 key objective. One, to collect for collecting the stock and profile of the country population and housing, and of course based on that will be input for the national development planning, and also for the basis for estimation and the projection, and also a lot of this statistic will be used as a benchmark for the various indicators, for example, for the disbursement of the grant from the federal to the state. So as the overview, at this juncture, we estimated at the moment we have about 8.2 million household in this country, with the average size of household 4.0, and at the moment we have 160 administrative district. So actually various new district coming out, especially in Sarawak, in Terengganu, Kuala Nerus, in Perak like Muallim, Bangka Dato, and so forth. And we, for the purpose of the census, we break out the census district to 1,107, and we have 9.0 million living quarters, and from 9 million living quarters we bundle it in one block about 100 living quarters, so we end up have 99,000 356 enumeration block. In terms of the coverage of the census, next slide, please. So the goal, next slide, please. Oh, it takes some time, the transition. The goal is to count everyone once and in the right place. So as shown on the slide, so everyone that stay in this country not less than 6 months will be covered in this census. It means that this census is not only for the Malaysian citizen, but also non-Malaysian citizen who stay here or intend to stay here more than 6 months. And of course, when we want to tabulate the statistic, we want to tabulate the statistic based on the geography. So our statistic unit will be placed attached with the living quarters. So we can answer the census maybe at your workplace, at the office and so forth. But at the end of the day, the data has to be placed in the living quarters. So because we want to put the statistic at this area, at the location, and in terms of the conducting the census, some of our population may not stay at home, they stay at the institution. In fact, some of in the prison, they are also being covered through the special arrangement. And including also in the census is people on the street, homeless also will be counted. That means when we talk about the census, is cover everyone. And of course, we have to have one reference day. We consider that as the census day. So in our 2020 census, our reference census day is July 7. Next, in terms of the important of the census, I think perhaps it's very straightforward. Of course, I mentioned earlier is for our monitoring our social economy for policy and also to how to we can really improve. For example, during the census, we asking about the facilities, the amenities, the distance of the facility from the home, and so forth, and also the issue related to the disabled, also about the on the agriculture. So based on this statistic, a lot of conclusion, a lot of the input can be drawn for the policy. And this is very important point that this information is from the people. We collect the information from throughout the country, about 32.7 million of the population, and all the information from the on the ground from the everyone, so that will be translated to the policy formulation for monitoring and so forth. Then the impact of that policy is directly for the people, for betterment of the people as well. That's why this census is actually is from people to people. In fact, it's really a far-reaching because with this good quality of the information, we can really can optimize the resources. So if we can know from the census which particular area that has the issue problem on the utilities, have a problem about the facility. So the channeling the fund, the resource of the country is can be done more targeted. For example, if we can look at the bigger picture on issue on the use issue on, for example, issue on social issue. So perhaps the study can be made based on the finding any issue because lack of the facility that maybe that contribute to the the illness or the issue social issue in the certain a particular district or area, because for example, if there's a particular place lack of the facility on the sport activities, a lot of thing that maybe end up the youth don't have the place to uh, conduct their healthy activity and so forth. So we can channeling the resources to that particular area that require more facility and so forth. But who doing this is not the Department of Statistics Malaysia. This will be information will be used by various ministry and agency. If the issue is related to use, then the Ministry of Youth Ministry will utilize this information for getting the allocation and drawing the program to this address the issue. This is one example. Actually, a lot of other example can be given. For example, issue on disabled and issue on the orders, warga emas. So we want to know which area that the facility need to be improved to give more comfort to the older generation. And at the end of the day, we want have very complete what we call MSAR, Malaysia Statistical Address Register. So at the moment, for example, in this country, we already communicated with Post Malaysia and so forth. Our address also don't have uniformity. So we also discussed this one with the SPR, Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya Malaysian agency, how this Malaysia Statistical Address also can be used by the country for many other purposes. And on top of that, we're going to have what we call the Malaysia Population Registration. So with the profile of their demography, it's different from Jabatan Pendapatan Negara. Jabatan Pendapatan Negara, the data is very minimum, is on the individual basis. But this one will be with the profile, with the background of education, with the background of the income strata, and of course in their background of their economy and so forth. We have the we call the household unit statistic. And next slide, this I think I already discussed this with my explanation on the previous slide. We move on in terms of the next one, in terms of the mood of the timeline. It just to mention here what the new approach been taken by Department of Statistics Malaysia for this time around. We provide more modes in this census collection. We have e-census at the moment is really helpful, especially in facing during the challenging time at the moment with the COVID-19. The e-census is kind of the answer how we can minimize close contact or face-to-face interview. We have computer-assisted telephone interview. This one actually we focus for our people have already in our statistical system, have been all this one is our respondent in our routine survey like labor force survey, e-commerce survey, and so forth. And for the copy, when we move on phase 2, we using the technology. I mean, all the information we straight away being keyed into the system. We using less questionnaire form or hard copy form. So some of our enumerator will be use their own smartphone beside the tablet. And puppy is the number one. This puppy actually is something that we want to avoid because it will be take longer time to process because we have to do the ICR and some need to be key in. And Dopu is something that especially to appeal the people in the urban area. They don't have time to meet our enumerator. We just drop the questionnaire and later on we collect the form. In terms of the preparation to fill up of the e-census, we provide a lot of explanation through video. We have the e-census manual, and also we provide the FAQ. This one to ease the burden and to ease the difficulty for our public to fill up the e-census. And the key critical success factor at the moment, we really grateful. We at the juncture we consider our system fully functional. At the moment, we receive on average about 50k new count in our system. During the closing, the first closing time is on 30th of the October. We reached one day about 270k. Is huge number. And at the moment, we stay at the percentage success at the moment is 4.63 million, about 14.2%. And based on the state at the moment, among the leading state for the e-census is Putrajaya at the moment, 71%. For the Perak about 22%, Johor 20%, Perlis 12%, and some of the state at the lower end. For example, Sabah 5.4%, Terengganu 8.4%, Sarawak 8.4%, and Kelantan 7.9%. Most of the state is already close to a minimum 20%. So we really inspired to reach about 50 to 60% respond e-census. And for the civil servant, as been circulated the appeal from our Chief Secretary General, is mandatory for civil servant to fill up the e-census. We have about 1.6 million civil servant. If we time the household size about 4, so easily we can get about 6.4 million or 20% of the total population. Next. This I think I just mentioned the form 1. You can see over there the spike during the first original closing date, about 30th of September. We reached 0.217 convert to 1,000. Real number is about 250,000. 272,000. So it show that is how Malaysian normally react. We waiting at the last minute. So we hope it won't happen because this space been extended up to 31st, but we don't want to see the spike at the end. So that's why now we try to reach our everyone through our e-census program. We work with the community, especially in the area of where we can conduct our work face to face at the green area. It's not now we quite limit a lot of limitation in Lembah Kelang and also in Sabah. And this the based on the our analysis at the moment, based on the 4 million e-census at the moment. This the just the glance of the who is already responded to e-census. So as shown on the slide, 2.4 is Malay, ada Bumiputera 0.3, Chinese 1.4, and India 0.3. And also there are also non-citizen is part of the 4.45 million. I mean, as we go along, we continue can really look at the characteristic based on the at any point of time in terms of the age, in terms of the ethnic and so forth, because the system is fully integrated. So at any point of time, we can know the status by district and also by small area, by locality and so forth. And in terms of the content of the questionnaire, I think for some of you that already fill up this census is quite lengthy, about 108 question. There are some section there, section A and B for the background of the respondent, section C on the living quarters, section C about the household number of people living, and also on certain requirement on the information on the education disability on this in the section E, and also about the health and fitness, social relationship in section F. It's very important for me to highlight this time around. We also focus a lot of question on the well-being. So the way we conduct our life in terms of neighborhood, how frequent we talk to the neighbor, and also in the family, how frequent we eat together during the lunch, during the dinner, and so forth. And in terms of reinvent the current census, so we come up with the we say that the more looking at the integration. So now we integrating the data from the census, we still in the progress with the immunization record. So for example, every day any new baby or anyone who died, we already received the 1 copy of that certificate in our demography population count. So that also is the basis for us to integrate this information with the result of the census. And actually a lot of other database from the other agency also been used to enhance the finding of the this census. So a lot of in the forthcoming, for example, we want to give back this as a result of the census to the people, where at the moment we developing the census portal. So we put up the raw data. Is individual data is confidential, but people can using the data mining, make the filter if they are interested on the key statistic in the particular area. They mean we want to have kind of people can really really can mining the data. They can play with the information, the data that being collected through the census for their research, for their study. But of course, the individual data, the security on the individual data is preserved. It's not going to be shared, or not. It's not going to be disclosed to anyone. In terms of the challenges, this is my I think about the pioneers about to complete my presentation. This is about the challenges as shown on the slide. Of course, for this very big exercise. So a lot of planning and of course a lot of the issues need to be addressed. For example, about the scammer, about look at the make sure the in terms of the quality of the data. We also see that some of duplicating. And when we have so many mode, have the dopu, papi, kapi, essential and so forth. So have to make sure this how all these all various information that we collected through various modes can be really make sure that no duplicating and can be really can be traced according to the location or according to geography. Of course, some of the respondent may not really understand why we require so many information. It take about 45 minutes to 1 hour. So this is another challenges for us how to convene and how to communicate how this census actually is opportunity, the privilege to everyone to participate because everyone can really put up their voice, their requirement by fill up the census. And on average, the older generation, the people is already at the most senior age. They are more understand the importance of the census. So now the focus on the promoting the census, communicating the census is have to be focused also on with the youth who really need to be explained in a more easy way on their role, on the importance of the information that be being collected for this census. And of course, as I said there, behavior of the last minute. We also want to avoid the system from overuse or heavy traffic at the last minute, like the rushing during the in the physical thing, like using the highway at the peak time during the festival, holiday, and so forth. That will becoming a heavy traffic. Similar to the e-census, our challenging how to manage at one time too many want to complete the census in one go. This was something we want to avoid. So that's why by targeted in certain spaces in communicating with the community, we hope we can ease the heavy traffic toward the end of the closing date. This some of the program how Department of Statistics to bring this census to the center of the public by involving various stakeholders. For example, on the very during the 7 July, this census was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister, and we also really grateful kepada dunia tuanku yang di-Pertuan Agong is also part of the drive for people to exercise their responsibility, where yang di-Pertuan Agong is our first the first one who fill up the e-census, and we recording that moment and be part of the drive to promote the census to the public at large. So I think thank you very much. That briefly, it's not really brief, but it take me about 30 minutes to convey But actually, how this benefit to businesses and people at large is a lot. For example, if the businesses want to manufacture something that related to for pollution, like for the school children, for the baby. So with all the number of the population that counted during the census, the readiness of the production that required by the people can be produced by the businesses, including the requirement for the house and so forth. Maybe the census is not about the government. The census is about the public at large and also for everyone.
Thank you very much, Datuk Sri. Now it explains why in the beginning you said that the census is the mother of all data collection. The extent of the census, the challenges that comes with it. Datuk Sri, we have a lot of questions that coming in. We will try to read as many questions as possible and try to get a brief response for each question from you.
Yes, sure.
The first question comes from Siti Nur Aisyah. Siti was referring to the census data that you shared earlier. She asked whether the 0.03 million include the low-skilled foreign workers.
Yes, that one, when we stated that census is including the citizen and non-citizen who live this country more than 6 months, then the non-citizen including expatriate and also the low skill and the mid skill workers in sector manufacturing, in agriculture. At the moment, we, in terms of the real number, how much we have? About 300 non-citizen. How many? At the moment, we have already 300K non-citizen already exercise their right. I mean, they are already fill up the census, including people who are working in the embassy. Yeah, about 300K.
75K.
Oh, sorry, not 300. Sorry, 75K. Sorry, not 300K. Sure, more than 100. Please check for me. Okay, I think we can go on for the next question. Please.
The next question from Chan Lee. Chan Lee is asking about a question in the census about having breakfast. So how do we intend to use this information, Datuk Sri?
So actually, if we look at how we want to look at the moving forward toward the developed country with our own culture, we want to see actually, for example, how the strong of the family institution.
Correct.
So the family institution can be measured through what? For example, how you talk frequently, stay, for example, during the eat, having dinner together, breakfast together. So we can, based on this information, the ministry that take in charge of the family and support can draw a program how to strengthen. We know that in 1970, 1980, the family institution is not the issue. And of course, now we have also a lot of issue on retention rate on the merit. Some of the breakdown of the merit less than 1 year and so forth. They also can be measured on the conduct of the family. Of course, this is not only the way how to measure it, the strength of the family bonded, but I think this is one of the question that can be induced. And of course, if we can have the very comprehensive and very good response from the census, we can know after completed of the census which area, which district that very good in terms of the how the interaction with the family, with the neighbor, that we can be benchmark for the others, for other district or the other area.
Right.
And in fact, that question is not difficult, but I had got the feedback. For example, when people fill up this question, they realize that, oh, actually we let all together having dinner online. Very sometimes that we can only have during the weekend. And in terms of talking to neighbor, based on the information, mostly in terms of interacting with the neighborhood, it's look like the youth and people at the age that below 30 or at the youth age, they seldom talk to the neighbor compared to people at the more older age. So that's why when this information we induce from the census, so it's something that can be done. We can draw program by the PC to how to improve this. Similar, for example, we have question about how long time you take to travel from your home to your workplace. So this for you, we want to see how many percent our public spend too much time on the road. This we how to be taken care into how to improve the our road, our public transportation and so forth. So a lot of the information is not really can be used directly. They will be used together with the other information. Yeah.
That's very interesting, Dato Sri. The dimension of the census,
In
which
fact, in other country, they also measure like the fact of the older generation, how many grandfathers still working, for example. So we want to reach the country that we want to know about how people at the older generation can really have a good time after they retire. So this is something that, and also in moving as the aging nation, are we ready really also to have the some of the work can be offered to older generation who still have the active lifestyle, for example. So it is something that, because we know that even though our retirement age for the public service is 60, some of people still think that they are still healthy and they really have patience to work. So this also can also a great information. You want to re-examine our industry, how also we can also create some of the job opportunity for the people at the older generation.
Thank you, Dato Sri. Let me move to the next question from Hui Kun Go. She's asking about, he want to know how Department of Statistics is planning to streamline data sharing in the ministries to facilitate them to make informed public policy.
Yes. This thank you very much. I think it is a really important question. When we have a meeting with the steering committee at the high level, chaired by Yang Bagai Tan Sri, Chief Secretary, attended by key Chief Secretary of the ministry, and also State Secretary. We already presented one paper entitled of how we take what the next after census. So the important is how we can really integrate the MYCENSUS record, so this census can be far-reaching. So this census is not stopped with the operation. The committee on the census, we continue work how we can channeling the information to the ministry agency in more systematic way. I think we hold to the principle is the data is becoming valuable when the data is being used again and again. So the data sharing, and also more important, our deadline is delight your customer. So our customer, the user at large, we try to facilitate to everyone. So on the part of the other agency, everyone have to pay their part also. How the data at the agency level can be integrated. I'll give you a simple example. When the school children go to the school, normally every year the parent will fill up a lot of the information to the school, the form. But at the moment the data is still there. It's not unlocked. It's not data integration. So it's similar in the health industry. A lot of information here and there. So the sensor will provide the baseline of the data of the country. Later on, this data had to be integrated and had to be edited to be updated until we come to the next 10 years. If we're going to have the conventional approach. But I would like to, at this stage, to mention that not necessary for the next 10 years, Malaysia have to conduct another census what we're having now. Because the other countries is already embarked on the journey to have what we call the census based on the population registration. Or this something that we can work on. If anyone have experience in overseas, normally the local authority who they register the population. If you move from one county to other county in order for get the facilities, you have to update your record. You have to register. At this in our system at the moment, the local authority or at this level is not required to register the population movement. We just register about the in order to collect the rent of the property for the house only, but they don't asking about the who stay in the house. So it is something that I think in the future, for example, some of the country no longer conduct the conventional census, like Netherlands. They no longer have the conventional census what we having now.
Dr. Sri, if we get it correctly from you, if we can streamline this data sharing, it can also help to shape how we do census in the future, yeah, Dr. Sri?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we can cut a lot of the budget allocation, and also at any point of time, we can get what we call the real information.
Right.
So during this COVID 19 challenges, you look at the we can do the research how Korea handle to address the challenges on the COVID, because they have really strong database on their population, really integrated. They use really data to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think this is something that we are really inspired.
All right.
But everyone have to play their role, the ministry, the agency, at the federal, state, and local authorities.
Dr.
But
Sri,
we are already in the same pace at the moment actually. Now how to materialize? So with the announcement by Yang Mohd Minister about how to Malaysia need to strengthen our statistical system, where we're going to have the what you call Majlis Statistik Negara, Statistik Council, that comprise of the key agency ministry, then we can really unlock a lot of potential on the data at the agency at the ministry level.
Inshallah, it seems that we are moving into the right direction. Yeah, Dr. Sri.
Yeah.
Dr. Sri, I will take the question from Amir, Syahari, Yamin, Ismail, and Zaini together.
Yeah.
Because they are asking about the e-census.
Yeah.
The first part is that what is the current response, and the second part is that how safe is the e-census from cyber attack?
Yeah. At the moment, for the for the current e-census, the response on the public servant about 30%, and for the Malaysia as the whole about 14.2%. And in terms of the confidentiality and the security, this is a pillar of our e-census system. We already put in place the security measure and to protect the individual information. And of course, for this sensor, we not asking very sensitive information. Is more about the how you conduct people conduct their life, their facility, their distance, their background, and so forth. But beside that, we need to protect the individual information. So the security is a big portion that we invest in the developing this e-sensor system. Yeah. And we
Uh,
learn what experienced by other country. For example, during the last census in Australia, Australia Bureau of Census, they have problem. The system crash, and we learn from that. We hope we not it not happen in our e-census system. So that's why, for example, we not allow the e-sensor to be accessed from outside the country. So we protect the system, for example. Yeah.
Datuk Sri, this question come from our Facebook page from Khadijah. Khadijah is asking, could you share with us what are some of the steps being taken by your department to avoid scammers from interfering in data collection?
Okay. At the moment, the scammer, there are various form. Some of the form of the scammer, they are try to induce money from people who want to be a census enumerator. So there are some message that you want to be a enumerator, you can register and put some amount of deposit. So that one we already make a statement. And of course, other thing is we work with the community at the various places that for the face-to-face interview, we want the enumerator come from the people that are familiar with the local. And of course, in terms of the overall approach, we working closely with PDRM and many agencies to avoid this scammer. And of course, we cannot stop them, but from time to time, we always alert the public that if they are not sure, there are some suspicious, they are always free to contact us and or report to us. And from time to time, if we have that some information be circulated that not from us, we will immediately will make a rectification in the form of the public statement. Yeah.
Another question from the Facebook, Datuk Sri. We take together from Azizul, Hamid, and Hafiz Nazri. This is about the big data. They observe that most of the data from the government are aggregated.
Yeah.
Not much analysis can be done.
Yeah.
And that's not helping in terms of data modeling and use of
Yeah.
application. Is
Yeah.
there any improvement to that, Datuk Sri, in line?
Yes,
In
this
pipeline?
is something that thank you very much, Hafiz, for this question. This for the in the past, there are some disconnect between people and the official statistic, because the statistic being produced at the macro level, at the aggregate level. So what we doing now, for example, recently we released the data at the district level by name of the what we call my local stat. So at the moment, every district, if you interested, you can go to the portal, the OCM, everyone can download the statistic at the district level. And for this coming census result, we plan to have every parliament one publication. So it's going to have 222 publication after the census. And this data is not only for the population data, it's really also the other statistic like employment, inflation, and so forth. We are going to integrate. So every member of parliament have to know what they are representing of. I mean, what they are going happen, what is happening in their parliament. So this is something that new chapter for the country, where every member of parliament can have their own dedicated statistic. And beside that, for Dewan Undangan Negeri, we have about 600 over Dewan Undangan Negeri. They also going to have one publication for every DUN. So this statistic actually can be a report card to the people. And the statistic normally we not provide in the form of one-off. There will be time series, so we can look at the what been achieved and what the witnesses based on the statistic. At the end of the day, we want to have kind of statistic at the second language. Statistic will tell us what happening in the past, what happening now, what we going to plan in the future. So we want as much as possible people really appreciate this statistic, and when they have the discussion, they can compare their statistic from their area with other area, what the effectiveness of the key stakeholder when they manage the district or local authority. I mean, the achievement of the one area with other area can be compared. And also we can also based on the what the how much the allocation being channeled to that particular area. So we want to have kind of everything is measure, and we want the optimum impact of the implementation any policy, any development in the particular area. So we really excited about this to have every member of parliament can carry their own dedicated official statistic in the form of the dedicated population. Every Dewan Undangan Negeri also have their own publication, and that can be in the form of the hard copy and also in the form of the mobile application. So we want to move at the have as the season census centric result for this time around. But we welcome all the feedback, all the input, and of course, to materialize this, we need to have a strong cooperation from various agency and ministry and stakeholders. Yes.
We have come to the end of today's session. Datuk Sri Dr. Mohd Uzir, would you like to offer some parting words?
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to this sharing session. As Malaysia, we know that our future is really challenges. We need really have very good planning, and of course, the planning require a lot of the information. So the information must come from the very solid form of the data collection, and everyone are responsible uh, to contribute. So whoever we are, where we live, and so on is not really a matter, but it's more importantly how we contribute to the success of the census for our future development. And moving forward, we see that at the international level, our competitiveness is keep increasing, and the country who can really plan, who can really can stay competitive, they can survive. So at the moment, even though we are among the key trading nation, we trade with a lot of country, more about 200 country, but there no guarantee that we can continue to have that kind of the competitiveness. So with the good statistic, good planning, this will bring our social, our economy in very steady and very strong. And we have to plan. It's not for us, but also for the next generation. Again, thank you very much. And at the end, I also welcome for anyone. Today, I have a management meeting. We want to promote some of kind of engagement with the public and large, especially on the people who are keen to partnership with us to do the research. So everyone who would like to use this census data for research can put forward the proposal to us. So we can, we can open for, people who are really keen to contribute to the research based on the census data which we completed by next year. And we want to have as many as possible research paper based on the this census undertaking. Again, thank you very much for having me for this webinar session. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Datuk Seri Dr. Mohd Uzir, thank you very much for spending time with us today. We could feel your passion, your zeal when you spoke about the census and data and so on. Kami di RSOG mendoakan Datuk sihat selalu.
Terima
supaya
kasih.
dapat meneruskan lagi sumbangan kepada negara kita yang tercinta ini, Datuk Seri. We also would like to thank the participant for taking part. We value your views and feedback. We apologize that we cannot take all the questions that are being posted to us today. We also apologize for any shortcoming. Please follow us on social media for future session. Till we meet again, take care, stay safe and thank you. Sampai jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum semua. Terima kasih.
Waalaikumsalam.